Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's been a while. Thought I'd have a seat here. I got a few minutes to kill. Got to pick up some folks pretty shortly. I think at 2. It's about 1:35 now. Today is March 14th, Tuesday. But anyhow, wanted to talk to everyone, give everyone an update. Sorry I haven't uploaded some videos like I had hoped. I actually made a pretty cool video not long ago, a week or so ago, and the darn camera must have died or wasn't recording the whole time, and it was null and void. I didn't get anything out of it. So, but thought I'd retry today. I don't have again, not long. Just want to share some stuff with you real quick about the little area I happen to be in. I'm just east of Cedar Key. See the mangroves behind me. Can't see them. There's a couple pelicans hanging out with me here. This area is called Steamboat. Literally my backyard. I grew up, gosh, hardly a half mile just west of here. But this particular area was, back in the day, it was known for a few outlaw oystermen to come get oysters. It was a closed area. There's nothing really wrong with the oysters. I mean, the guys, at least back then, they would never sell an oyster to someone that they wouldn't eat themselves raw, right in front of them. But those lines are just kind of arbitrary lines someone draws on a map. Of course, there are closed areas that I definitely agree with. I wouldn't want oysters out of there, but here you'd be just fine. But anyhow, this is an area that people used to illegally get oysters quite a bit. There's still oysters here, but I don't think they really do it much anymore, to my knowledge. I haven't commercially oystered in years. But I'll tell you a little secret of the trick of the trade. Some of the guys would come out at nighttime with the oyster tongs, working them along the bottom, getting little passes like the one to my left right here, and there's several others to my right. But they would get out there and they would, on a quiet fall or winter night, they were always pretty apprehensive about them. FWC, back then we just called them Marine Patrol, being on a local bridge, listening out for them. Airplane over my head, apologize for the noise. One of their ways out, they would take like an old blanket and lay it on the culling board. The culling board is a piece of plywood laid across the boat. The oysters would bring the oysters up into a pile, and you'd go through them later. So many guys would get oysters out of an illegal area, get a little mound of them on the board or a big mound, and they'd take off and go to one of the legal areas. That way, if they got caught, well, you can't prove the oysters didn't come from there. But they would lay the blanket out at nighttime. If they were some outlaws, some midnight marauders, they would lay the blanket on the board, and that would muffle the sound a little bit when those oyster clumps hit the plywood. It would kind of muffle it. So they were always scared of someone catching them. But that's, anyway, just a little quick story about how the guys used to get oysters. So I've heard. But this area today, you look at it and you think, a lot of people, I come through here, by here a lot of times with charters with people on the boat, and it just looks like a really fishy area. It looks like it'll hold a lot of fish, but believe it or not, it doesn't. Yes, occasionally you can come in here and catch some reds, absolutely. But the bottom in here there's a lot of oysters in the gaps, but everywhere else is just an old muddy bottom. And yes, I've caught a lot of redfish in here, and occasionally a snook, a lot of mullet for sure. But it's not a great fishing area, believe it or not. I don't know why. I think like in the summertime when you want to redfish, the water temperatures in here, it gets kind of still and stagnant. The current ain't running too hard in here because the current's got to come in and weave through all these mangrove mazes to finally get back there. And the water temperatures get pretty hot. So what that means is that invites a lot of catfish and unwanted trash fish that you don't want, stingrays, whatever. But it's not one of my go-to areas, really. But it is an interesting little place. Like I said, I used to run through here all the time in my little boats when I was a kid. Just due to proximity, I lived so close. But that's pretty much my story for today. I was thinking about oysters. I think about oysters a lot. They were a big part of my youth when I was young because when I went out to get the pompano, to go grouper fishing occasionally, and when I was really young, when I got stone crab traps offshore, I was always with an adult. When I was 14, 15, usually I was. But oystering was one of them things I could do totally independent. make extra money, even though it's obviously a tough way to, not a way you want to make a living, but it's a way to make extra money if you're, you know, young kids. It's like bagging groceries at Publix. You know, it's great for a young person to make a little extra money, but it's not a career choice necessarily. But it definitely has a lot of there's definitely an independence, a freedom about it. You know, that goes with commercial fishing, period. But again, you know, a lot, you know, I can tell you stories about catching fish and all that, but you know, there's a ton of guides and other fishermen that, you know, they can flood the internet with videos and pictures and stories of catching fish. But I like to touch on the old stuff, a lot of the old time commercial crabbing and oystering stuff I was a part of. And we'll talk more about it another time. I still want to get on a soapbox about pompano and tell you guys exactly how it was done. For those that are interested, I was interested. It was really cool. I really liked it. It's one of the things I missed from when I was young. But I guess I'm getting old. I turned 50 a couple days ago. So I'm just the other day, like last Thursday, I turned 50. It's kind of surreal. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Sometimes mentally I feel 50, but physically I feel pretty good. But anyway, that's going to do it for today. Thanks for watching till the end. And I'm going to go pick my folks up, and we're going to take off and try to go get some redfish. I was out a couple days ago and did real well, surprisingly, even though it was a 20-knot wind. And we found a little area to get in out of the wind, did pretty good. But anyhow, again, guys, until next time, and thanks for hanging out with me. And I'll be back soon. Take care.